Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Native News Today.
All right, everyone, if you're sitting out there at home, this is not your normal Saturday. This is history. Welcome to the 100th episode of Native News Today. We've come a long way in the past 2.5 years, and we're so glad to be sitting here for the 100th consecutive week. We're glad that you're able to join us again, and I believe we have a special guest to bring on, and I need to do a little bit of a trip down memory lane right now. Let's bring on the special guest. Pop him up in the window there. How you doing there, Mr. G. Woff?
Oh, hey, how are you doing out there? Hope you're all good and fine. Hey, the reason I'm here, and I appreciate the time here, we want to congratulate Native News Today, right?
Absolutely, man.
100th anniversary of this show.
Hey, congratulate yourself. I mean, you're the leadoff hitter, man. You set the table. You were there with me through, my goodness, what probably at least 65 of these things? I don't know. I mean, I lost count.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, somewhere in the 60s there. You know, of course, a lot of people remember the 60s, and then they forget after that. But, yeah,
I don't
it was around
remember
that
the
episode.
60s, Gerald. What are you trying to say?
Oh, yeah, you weren't born yet then, but
yeah, come
60s
on.
were a good time. But anyway, yes, congratulations, Native News Today. Jason, who would have thought, 2 years ago here we were, and all of a sudden here we are 2 years later. Who would have thought a show like this would succeed?
I wouldn't have, especially after that first episode. Wow, we were a couple of wet behind the ears pups. And let's just take a look back at that first episode right now and laugh at ourselves a bit. That's going to... Hey,
sorry,
we're cutting my toes off here.
Sorry, man. My bad.
That's going to wrap us up for this 100th episode. Look at this. This guy comes back in a spot start, and he wants to jump all over my toes. What's with you?
Sorry, man. Didn't mean to jump on you there.
It's all right. You go ahead. No, I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, I was just going to say, the old Carol Burnett show.
That's right.
There, the 60s and 70s.
Something else I don't remember.
I'm so glad we had this time together, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's what it was with Native News Today. So glad we had this time together.
Yes. It was a great time here on the 100th episode. We always have fun here on the Native News Today crew. Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your 400th episode of Native News Today, your number one source for Native American television news. I'm your host, Jason Salzman. Thank you for being with us today. We have a great show lined up, and as you saw there, we're going to tip our cap a little bit to our history and see some clips from our 100th episode, 200th, 300th, all the way leading us up to today, our 400th episode. As I look back on all these episodes and all the time that we've done this show, it's just such a pleasure to look back and see, think about the memories and the times we've had. And certainly can't do this 400th episode without mentioning my good buddy and right-hand man, Gerald Wofford. He certainly moved on to greater things and doing great for himself now. But it was wonderful having him as part of this show, and we had a lot of great times. And as you can see, there's no way we could show old shows of Native News Today, 100, 200, 300, without some Gerald Wofford footage. So very thankful for that, having Gerald on, and want to give a shout out to him out there. But also, you just think about the stories. You think about the people that you've met. You think about the things we've been able to tell, whether it be a great, human interest story, an elderly woman getting her home restored after a fire, or going with the chief to Alabama to really be as an embedded journalist with him in something making national news. That's something for me that I'll never forget. And so this show has afforded us, all of us here that work on it, the opportunity to do some great things, and we're going to do that again this Saturday. We've got some great stories lined up for you, and most of the time we just do like a little retrospective, a look back. No, we decided we'll just do a regular show. We're going to have stories for you from this week. New business at Riverwalk Crossing there, Embroidery and Design, actually owned, operated by the Tulsa Creek Indian community. So that's a neat little story there. Nice to see them. And also, as history goes and having some historic guests on, we got a chance to go over to the College of Muskogee Nation as Richard Ray Whitman spoke to the College of Muskogee Nation, and so a lot of folks there that came to hear him on the anniversary of the occupation of Wounded Knee there. A lot of people remember Wounded Knee. You know, that was a time of, you know, government to government relations, and things were, you know, really tense there. And so for him, he was actually there. So he'll, you know, give that perspective to these people. It's a great thing, and we're glad to be able to tell those stories. So we're going to take our first break. We'll be right back with Native News Today. Don't you go anywhere.
Looking for your next 18-hole adventure? Then take a look at Fountainhead Creek Golf Club. Nestled in the beautiful confines of Lake Eufaula State Park, large sloping greens and well-placed bunkers characterize the Muskogee Creek Nation's Floyd Farley designed course and offers a fine test of skill for any golfer. Stay up on all the latest gear and equipment with a visit to our pro shop. Have lunch at the Turn at the Clubhouse Grill. We're waiting to accommodate you at Fountainhead Creek. So give us a call at 918-689-3209 or visit fountainheadgolf.com to book your next round. Fountainhead Creek Golf Club, close to home, far from ordinary.
Pumbanakadat nak azagi domen, ajai jahaniat, omen ibuwakidos.
Daniels in Ogitskish, Bonshongi Benoat, Bomio, Boshomizatlish.
Momesh, Harishongigo imongin, Hobidagi ani omaga, Bomahahoye imongin oma Bonshomegigos. For more information about Muskogee language preservation, please call us at 918-732-7724.
There's a story I heard hundreds of times growing up. The story about the day my grandpa disappeared. I grew up in a world of songs.
I always think of the songs really being the spirit of something. There's a story.
They are the same songs our ancestors sang on the Trail of Tears.
They carry the grief, but they also carry this great love that works the same way at death.
There was one little drop of blood on the back fender, and his glasses was on the dash. No sign of him.
As they searched, you could hear these songs echo through the forest.
I didn't realize what that would lead me to. A whole rich story of American music history that had never been told. What would you say is the first American music?
Our histories are not written, they are spoken through stories. They are told through our songs.
I want to talk to that man, but he's gone. He's gone somewhere.
When we sing these songs, we're waking up God.
For 3 years, kids have been asking their parents, what is that hill on the river going to be? What answer did you give?
Did you tell them that someday that half-finished structure will be one of America's most important attractions, bringing visitors from around the country and the world to Oklahoma?
Along with hundreds of millions of dollars into our economy.
There'll be state-of-the-art interactive displays that bring to life the stories, history, and culture of the 39 tribes that share this state.
A 210-acre landscape park and trail system. Beautiful retail and business space.
This will be another jewel in the crown of our state's tourism industry, and it will pay eternal tribute to the origin of our great state.
It's not a matter of whether we can afford to complete it. We simply can't afford not to.
For the current generation of Oklahomans and the generations to come, let's finish it.
Let's finish it.
Let's finish it.
The Muskogee language has always been a part of my life, and so I grew up speaking the language, and I've used it throughout my life. I found that people were interested in learning the language and wanting to revitalize it. The language immersion method of teaching is one that I'm comfortable with. It's a way of reconnecting with our histories and our cultures, and to give this gift or pass this gift on to our children. Mado, hadam chihijahlis.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone. Welcome to the 200th episode of Native News Today. Gerald Wofford with Jason Salzman here, and my oh my, do we have a special treat for you folks today.
My goodness, 200th here, April 2010. Who would have believed, 4 years ago we would have reached this milestone? And we really consider it an honor to our 200th episode, and that's why we'd rather not be anywhere else than sharing it with you people out there. On the week that perhaps a bad anniversary in a way, the week that the Beatles broke up, but also another in sports, the week of the anniversary that Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's 500th record.
Okay, right.
Native News Today will celebrate their 200th episode.
200th episode, and Gerald, so many memories flood my head. Thinking back to all the episodes we've done. This show has, for 200 consecutive weeks, been on the air, and we've had our building flooded out. We've had ice storms. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff happen. Earthquakes, yeah. But seriously, a lot of things have happened, and we've been able to get a show out every week. I'm so proud of that. You look at it, 200. Our buddy here that works with us and helps us out, Darren DeLon, he just remarked to me yesterday, that's way more than some. He said that's way more than some, reputable shows out there. So that's a pretty cool deal.
Well, if you're going by a technical thing, usually they go by 5 years on a program. Hopefully we're going to surpass that.
Yeah.
But we thought we'd share some of the highlights, if you will, of the past 4 years, and hope you kind of enjoy this journey down memory lane.
Yes, we will be taking a walk down memory lane. That's exactly right. And just taking a look at some things, having a little fun today. That's what this episode's about, having some fun with our viewers and letting them take a look back through a 30-minute, retrospective. And welcome back to Native News Today. And, I can't help but get tickled there. Me and Jared were talking off camera before we came back from the break. You look at our set and how much things have changed. And he made a comment, we were in the core of the sun there. Good thing we didn't get burned up. But that just shows where we've come from then till now, and just, proof that we're going to continue to progress and get better every single week. So we're glad to bring it to you in such a way. Our first story this week will be Embroidery and Design. It's a new business up there at Riverwalk Crossing, actually owned, operated, and ran by the Tulsa Creek Indian community. Michelle Meza and her crew up there doing a great job. I saw some old friends working in the shop there and doing some great work, not only for the Creek Nation and tribal communities, but outside entities too. They're working for the drillers, they're working for other tribes too. So it's a really good business thriving there. We were glad to be able to go up to Riverwalk and share all the good things that they're doing and the production that's going on at Embroidery and Design.
We are a fast-growing embroidery and screen printing shop, and we also offer promotional products. So we are your branding specialists. We are located in the Riverwalk in Jinx, which is also owned by the Creek Nation, and we are so happy to be here.
I'm Amber Langford. I'm the assistant manager here at Embroidery Designs, and I would like to give you guys a walkthrough and show you a little bit talk to you about what we do. Okay, we operate off of 3 embroidery machines, a single head and 2 6 heads. The single head does a lot of our single items. Right now, Valerie is working on royalty shawls for the princesses upcoming here in 2014. We're also doing their sashes. Whenever they're elected, they'll bring those back in to have their names embroidered. Valerie's very good at what she's doing. She's good with placement and being meticulous with those art forms and such. Over here is our 6-head machines. This is where we run our greater quantities. Right now we're working on a driller's order, a 100-piece order of polos. And Bree right now is hooping, and she'll load those up over there. So we recently ran a 1,500-piece order of the joint blankets for promotional items, so these machines do a lot of our work. Over here is our screen printing press. Rodney does our screen printing right now. He's working on some shirts for College of the Muskogee Nation. And as the warmer season comes up, the festivals come up, we're really going to take off with the screen printing. So it's about to go live very quickly. Over here, we do all of our digitizing and artwork in-house. We don't outsource anything, same as our embroidery and same as our screen print. That really kind of sets us apart from other businesses in the area because they outsource their products. Right now we have Light Horse coat of arms logo up that we do a lot of for Light Horse. And then over here we've got Riverwalk Dental Spa. The difference between these two, Corel Draw does art for promotional items and screen print, and then our Photoshop does embroidery.
Our focus is pretty much every small business and large business. So we are a business-to-business service industry. We focus on 3 specific targets, which are tribal businesses, Creek Nation being our biggest customer. We also focus on the service industry, so the construction, the plumbing, ADT, other big industries here in Tulsa, and all across, the United States. So we are growing nationally as well, and we're very excited to pick up that business. We also are focusing on colleges and schools, such as Jinx and Union in particular. We're very excited to be a part of the growing industry in Tulsa. What's great about it is we are 100% tribally owned and operated. And what's even better about it is we provide jobs to other tribes, other Indians, and we're proud of that. We are highly projected for fast growth this year, and we are hiring. We're always accepting applications, which is good, for embroidery and screen printing. Our website is currently under construction, and we're also working on our promotional products website that should be up and running next week. They can contact us at 918-518-6408. That's our business phone, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and we just created a Facebook and Twitter page as well.
Thanks again to Michelle and all the good people up there at Embroidery Design for letting us come in. We know it's kind of different, trying to get some work done, bringing the camera crew in, but wanted to share the good news, and we thank them for that access. Moving on, our next story, we went over to the College of Muskogee Nation last week on the anniversary, actually, of the Wounded Knee occupation. I know a lot of you out there know about Wounded Knee, American Indian movement, lots of tough times there, trying times. We're trying to, as Native American people, they felt like they weren't being heard, felt like the government was turning a blind eye to a lot of the issues, and really things got tense there at Wounded Knee. And Richard Ray Whitman, a Muskogee Creek Yuchi, he's an advocate, a poet, actor, just does lots of things, photojournalist. And Richard was there at Wounded Knee, and on the anniversary of Wounded Knee, he came to Norma Marshall's class at the College of Muskogee Nation to give a talk about what it was like being there and, his feelings on what that meant today. So, Richard.
Today was the commemoration of the battle that happened at Wounded Knee, and the occupation ended on February 27th. Richard Whitman came to give the speech about Wounded Knee to this young generation that may not realize what transpired for all Native people. And we also touched on the Muskogee Creek people's presence during the occupation of Wounded Knee when the roads opened up. These young people of this generation missed all of that, and the elders that are living now recognize that it was something that happened during our lifetime. And so we had little kids in here today as well that came to hear this. So it goes from generation to generation to generation on the fact that we as Native people are still here. We're still surviving. We're still sustaining who we are as a people. And we keep our heritage alive through things like this. So we greatly appreciate what he shared with us today.
A great opportunity to be here, to be present, to return, and in some ways give something back or share. And of course with acknowledging instructor Norma Marshall, and so American Indian history and Indian history. So it's a great opportunity and basically a good reflection of the Muskogee Nation, tribal college, education, to the great balance and equalizer. And of course, we just left the classroom here, and then the Muskogee language is there. And so I think the oral tradition is very important, as say, and as language, indigenous languages obviously offer another perspective, another outlook, another way to view the world. Genetic memory, if you will, the digital age, the technology. So for me, it's always a question of balance. And I believe in the oral traditions, and I think a first-person account. I would never know this many years later, 41 years later, beginning today, the anniversary, the 41st anniversary of Wounded Knee, and that Wounded Knee seems to be something from the long ago past, but it's recent history, 40 years is recent history. And for it to go unnoticed, it's not surprising that it's rarely mentioned. But now with the changing times and attitudes, outlooks of people today, is much interest, and I've always felt that Wounded Knee is an important place for all people. Not as a mere tourist, for sure, not a tourist attraction, but a sense of history, what died and what was reborn there, a people's dream, perhaps, or a people's rebirth. And so it's a real place, and it's not just an artifact, but a real fact of history and all that entails. And so I would welcome anyone to go there and travel. And I think at this present moment, they're doing observances there now, for their acknowledging this time, February 27th. And but it was a turning point, because I came through the 60s, and so the termination policy. We were too young and naive to understand the consequences of to acculturate, assimilate Indians totally out of existence. No more observing any. Sovereignty was a new word, a new concept. But it's an old concept, But for how limited we were in accessing those treaty rights or the federal law understandings, never access to Indian people. And so I think Wounded Knee became a turning point. It was almost over for us. It was like, you're going to be like everyone else, just regular American citizens, no specific tribal affiliation. It doesn't matter if you speak this language or this is your understanding of your value system. You're going to be American citizens. No longer no federal guidelines or obligations or understanding of. And so we're right on the brink of that, and we're all products of that, without even knowing, or knowingly, that what went on before us, that collective history. But then nothing, I think, can replace also just this, expression, talking, and balance that with the current technology.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your #1 source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today, and we are celebrating our 300th episode. And this is Gerald Wofford, as you can see from looking back and turning the clock back there a little bit. And it's hard to imagine, folks, but that was the opener from our very first show. And now we are opening right after it for this show, the 300th. And it's neat to look back, but wow, what a journey.
Wow, Jason, you talk about blast from the past. That's exactly what that was. Can you believe it? It was, well, how many years ago? We're talking about 300 episodes ago. That,
6 years ago, I think.
7 years.
Right around 6 or 7, yeah.
My goodness, you were just getting out of high school then, too.
Yeah, just fresh out of, no.
My goodness, I tell you what, the years have definitely gone by, but, we've been here bringing Native News Today each and every week, and it's just a landmark for us to come and celebrate this with you.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you watching out there. And as we said, 300th episode. Wow.
Well, we get nostalgic a little bit on the episode, but we'll stay true to our, we'll stay true to the heart of the episodes. We'll have our stories as always, but we'll take a look back at our very first in-studio guest. you're never going to guess who it was. And he does a few things around here at the Muskogee Creek Nation these days. But we'll take a look at that and a lot more. We had the spring celebration from the Creek Nation Partnership Board. I'm sorry. They had their big event over at the Muskogee Dome. So we'll have that and lots more. You actually got a story too, right?
And we continue on with our series about visiting out in Arizona at the 67th anniversary of the commemoration of the Ivor Hayes, the flag raising, at Iwo Jima there. And it had a great event out there, and so we'll continue with that.
Great. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this first break. And there was our last bit there as we look back at episode 300. And hey, there's proof right there. You know, we can do this job sitting down. So, no, it's a great thing to look back on some of our old episodes. You know, as I said earlier from the jump, it's just been such a pleasure to be able to broadcast every week for 400 consecutive weeks. It's just crazy and incredible. And just, I get at a loss for words talking about really just scanning the catalog of episodes, and we go back and so many stories, so many folks that we've met, so many wonderful things to talk about, so many wonderful stories to tell. And I know that you folks out there, you know, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be a show. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. We wouldn't have any stories to tell, and we certainly wouldn't have an audience to be able to broadcast it to. So I want to thank all of you out there for making us, you know, a thriving show. We've been able to be a really vital entity for Indian country, being the only all-native news format on network television in Oklahoma. We're very, very proud of that. So without you, as I said, wouldn't happen. So I want to thank you, and also want to thank the folks that made this week's show happen. Embroidery Design. Like I said, we couldn't have went in there on a regular day and been more disruptive with cameras and things, but thankfully they recognize the power of being able to get out and tell people about all the wonderful products that they offer and the great work that they do. So we want to thank them for that. And also, you know, living history, Richard Ray Whitman, being there at College of Muskogee Nation and being able to hear his first-hand account of Wounded Knee and to talk with him personally and exclusively was just a real treat for me to be able to talk about his photojournalism and what made him take certain images and the power of visuals and hear him speak on that and then to hear him sort of talk about now and what Wounded Knee means now and really the I guess you could say what it was then and now and what it's became compared to what it really was then. So when we talk with him about those things, that's just like opening up a book and being able to feel like you were really there and with them in that movement. And a lot of Muskogee Creeks there as well in that occupation. So it was great to be able to go over and hear from him. If you can't catch us here on Tulsa CW 1219, we love it when you do. Catch us on the internet, YouTube, Facebook, and have a great time. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.